Hi, I'm Violet, the Abysmal Witch, and this is a witch's perspective, my perspective on cancer, my cancer, as it turns out. So when last I left you, I was waiting. It was the day after, and I was waiting. Waiting for what, you ask? Well, what next? I live in BC, Canada. We have fabulous care for cancer. There's a BC Cancer Agency. It's an entire group. So I don't know, words escaping me, tough times in the brain. But it's an entire unit, group, cluster. So you go in and they have this down. It's the entire care of somebody for cancer from beginning to end. And it has an entire team that gets assigned to each person that comes through. They have, counselors, nutritionists, and et cetera, like other resources to access. So just like getting referred to a specialist, you get referred to BC Cancer and you get not one specialist, but this entire cohesive team that works together on the treatments for every individual that comes through and whatever it is that their specific cancer needs. So the referral had been given, but now I have to wait for it. And I was waiting for the ultrasound. I was waiting on a referral for a CT scan, knowing that nothing's really going to happen until I start getting testing done. Meanwhile, what I hadn't mentioned yet was that kind of the weekend before, so the August 31st, September 1st weekend, I had, there was this bloating feeling, and if you've ever had cramps, so if you're male, you probably don't know what I'm talking about, but for women who've had that really low belly just above the pubic bone cramp, I've had that since September 1st, constant, mild, or with varying degrees, but constant. I never not have that sensation now. Yay, I no longer have discharge coming out of my vagina, woot, but I do have the low abdominal ache all the time. And at that point, September 1st, I was also getting bloating. So I had more intense sensation. So somewhere between discomfort, pain 1, pain 2, and having herniated a disc in the past, my definition of pain is quite broad. You have to really hurt me before I'll get up to high numbers. But this wasn't bad, but it was freaky because I've never had it like that before. I've never had continual experience of discomfort like that. And the bloating was just going and going. It was hard to sleep. It was, and not mentally, but physically hard to sleep because of the bloating that was going on. I wasn't able to eat as much. This is so now I'm freaking out because now I know I have, so this had started and went on for about a week. Then I got diagnosed with cancer. So now I'm oh God, is this bad? As things spiraled out of control. Because let's just say that calm, rational, and logical can kiss my ass at this point because I have cancer. And it's fear-inducing because we tend to associate cancer with death. There's this it feels like a death sentence, even though it's not in a lot of cases. It feels like it is. Oh yeah, so the waiting was tough. So I'm in this limbo stage, and I don't like limbo, right? Give me some dates to work on. Give me something to work on. So I was heading up towards the ultrasound, and now to finish this particular thought pattern and perspective. So I was scary land, totally scared, and every day worse, and tried calling the doctor back because I had been talking to her after I'd been having the bloating and such. However, you try and remember things to tell your doctor when they've just told you that you have cancer. Tends to go out the window, unfortunately, which is why when you go to appointments and such, they're bring a buddy, bring a brain buddy, essentially. So I forgot to tell her. So I called back the next day or whatever. I went, hey, by the way, I forgot to mention this. And the response was, well, this is why you're going for the ultrasound. This is why you're going for the CT scan to see what else is going on. Okay, that's fair. Fair. I will wait, with the added addition of, and if it ends up hurting a lot, go to emergency. It's oh, okay, okay, well, we'll see how this goes. Went for the ultrasound, and hey, um, and then on a Thursday and the following Monday, I had an appointment with my regular doctor for other things. And the nice part is because you can't get your CT scan results online. So I got my results from him and everything looks good. So my blood work and my CT scan actually came back really good. My liver is fine, my gallbladder is fine, my kidneys are fine. Everything's fine except for the fact I have cancer. And the ultrasound, again, like there was no fibroids, there was no this, there was no that, there were no blockages. There just happens to be a 1 by 1 by 2.5 centimeter lump. Yeah. So that part's the good news. And after I talked to the doctor, everything calmed down for me. You know, I'd gone from, there was one point where I'd freaked out to the, oh my God, I'm going to die. Bad place. That was definitely a bad place. That was not a good night's sleep. And it's weird even now to realize that was like a week ago, 1 week. Just, well, maybe not, it would have been like actually it would have been about a week from now, roughly speaking. I have no sense of time. At one point I had, because I've been so tired, gee, I wonder why, stress. And it's not like I wasn't stressed before, because work has been really stressful due to COVID. There's been a lot of changes and supporting people through changes and additional workload and trying to get things done and keep things going. I work with great people, but it doesn't mean it hasn't been stressful. So I was stressed anyway. And then this happened and I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted all the time. I finish work. I work a shortened day. I'm very blessed. I work from 8 till 2. And I would finish and I would go lie down for at least an hour because and sleep. I was so exhausted. And in one of those cases, this is the fun thing, like I said, perspective, it's fascinating. Because I had been asleep and then I woke up, on some level, my brain went, oh, well, then it's a new day. So I went from it being like Tuesday to Wednesday because I had a nap. And then had to kind of pull my perspective back to, no. We're still on Tuesday. Wednesday hasn't happened yet. Come back to the day that we're on. Like that's part of like how remarkable it just flips all of the switches in the brain and throws them into chaos. It's very dramatic, actually. I do kind of like dramatic things, but maybe not quite this dramatic. So yeah, that's my perspective of going from, oh my God, I'm going to die, to then talking to my doctor and things are actually pretty good. And the other reassuring part was that after the CT or the ultrasound, there wasn't an immediate, okay, so now things have been moved up. Here's your BC cancer appointment and. Because frankly, you know, our system is fabulous in many ways, but it's not instantaneous. And how do you get ahead in the line faster when it comes to cancer or any illness in BC? Be seriously sick. So moving up the line may feel nice on one hand, but on the other, it's just an indicator that things are a lot worse than you necessarily want them to be. So, hallelujah. So far, things are looking like, well, if you're going to have cancer, you know, if you're going to have uterine cancer and you're going to have that kind of uterine cancer, which isn't necessarily the best, at least the other circumstances surrounding it are actually pretty good. So plus side on that perspective. Woot! And that's this perspective at this moment. Blessings of the weird and wild to you. Blessed be.